Welcome to another late night podcast with Bridget and Holly. I'm your host, Bridget.
I'm your host, Holly.
So, Holly, what we going to talk about today, girl?
Today, y'all, first of all, let me start off by saying if you have not yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, because trust me, you want to tune in every Tuesday and Friday for our new podcast shows. But today, me and Bridget are going to talk about something that is a huge passion of ours that we absolutely love. It's a hobby. We're trying to turn it into a career, and you all ask about it. So this podcast is called All About Coloring.
All about coloring. And look what I've been doing.
You've been coloring.
Yeah, this is one of Holly's pages that she made, guys.
Oh, thank you. It looks
So,
gorgeous so
listen.
far.
Thank you. Thank you. So, a lot of people, when we're coloring, they ask us, what markers do you use? Whose book? Where do you get your books and your pages? Yada, yada, yada. So, y'all, I'll just tell you, I'm going to start out telling you what I like to use. First of all, let's go back to, I think everybody, when they start coloring, their very first thing that they go to is either crayon, colored pencils, or gel pens. And I
Yeah.
was hell bent on gel pens. That's all I ever wanted to use. And then Holly kept saying, you need to try alcohol markers or Sharpies. And I'm like, Sharpies? She's like, yeah, I love coloring with Sharpies. And she said, but I love alcohol markers too. And I got this set called Copic. And it's really, what is it called? Is it Copic or Copic?
So a lot of people say it's Copic, but when you talk to the people on Blick Art, they literally said it was Copic. And while Bridget's talking
Okay.
about Copic, I'm going to show y'all what a Copic sketch marker is. Okay. She's going to tell y'all about this pen.
Yes. So that is on that end, that's a brush tip. And we love these pens. And show them the other end, Holly. And when you get these, you see the brush tip has a gray line at the bottom. Flip that back over. See,
Right
it has
there.
that gray line. That way you always know that's your brush tip. And then the other end is what they call a chisel end. And that's for like large areas. When you have a large area you need to cover.
And
But
then oh, go ahead.
that's okay. Those are the refills for them that she's
Yep.
holding up there. So you can actually refill those alcohol markers, and you buy the refills, and those are about what, $5 or $6, but they actually refill a pen anywhere from
5.95.
six to, yeah, $5.95, and they refill a pen like 6 to 8 times.
You don't need a lot. Like some people will overflood it, and if you overflood it, your marker is gonna bleed. When you open it, it's just gonna just pour out. You're gonna go to
Yeah,
color, and it's just gonna make one big puddle and mess up your picture. So mine and Bridget, the way we do it, when we first started doing it, we were doing line to dot, line to dot, line. Now we just do line to dot, right? And now what we do now?
yeah,
Yeah, so it's
yeah.
just a couple of squeeze because it absorbs and it doesn't run out as quick as you think. Like it really, a couple of drops that have you coloring a lot of pages with it.
Right. Now the other brand we like to use is Ohuhu. And
Same gray
Ohuhu
line.
has, yeah, same gray line on the same side. It has a brush tip. And then it also has, now some of them Ohuhus has a fine tip, but that one has the chisel. But there is a Ohuhu that has the brush and a fine tip in case you have a real small area that you want to get into.
That's what a nib,
Yep.
a little fine nib tip looks like. This is shuttle art. That'd be another brand she talks about.
Yeah. Well, I don't use shuttle art like you do. But now there is a set. Now these sets, a Copic set, the entire set's going to cost you about $2,000. Okay. Then the Ohuhu, a full set, is going to cost you about $250.
Yeah.
So you know, but now they are throwaway pens, but they're saying that they're coming out with refills for them, but they don't have refills, but like for 30 or 40 of the pens right
Yeah.
now.
Just a more work in
But
progress right now.
Right, but Holly loves the shuttle art, and that is a throwaway set. But it's only like, how much is it for the big, like, huge set of
Well,
it?
now I don't like the shuttle art anymore. I did when you had introduced them to me, but you can get 200. There's so many different sets because I remember I was like, I got 220, and you was like, you should get the 270 or 282 or something, and it was
Yeah.
only like $120. Now I did love these because at the time I had only had one and a half full sets of Copic sketch markers, and I hadn't started buying the refills for them yet. So until I could start buying the refills, Bridget had told me about the shuttle arts. Now, and I hate it because I've got like three sets of these that I'm not using, but I have some at work so Heather can color with them or whatever. And if I take, well, my Ohuhus, because I got two sets of Ohuhus now, I take those to work to color with, but I will incorporate these sometimes. But I mean, they really are good. When Bridget told me these, even though she said they're not brush tip, they're really good. They are great to color. And they, the thing about shuttle art, so with alcohol markers, they will bleed, and it's a learning process because Bridget, to tell you, she didn't like them in the beginning, but once she got the hang of it, she liked them. So when you're coloring with an alcohol ink marker, the brush tip is a little flaily, but when you color with it, you don't want to be right at the line. You want to be a little away from it because it's going to bleed to the line. Now with shuttle art, the thing about it, because you're using the fine nib tip, it doesn't really bleed like that, but you still want to stay a little away from the line. But your alcohol brush tip markers are the ones that will overbleed if you're like right on the line. But shuttle art is very inexpensive to start off with, but it's like Bridget said. I mean, it's a good brand. It's a good brand, but we like the brush tips a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Now, I actually like, which Holly doesn't, I like a set we call the El Cheapos,
I
and their
hate that
best
set.
choice. You do? I
Yes,
just
she
don't.
must have got a good set or something because mine are shits, eh?
I love mine, but best choice, and they come in a. You can't. You got to give them props for the damn case they come in.
Now the case is worth it. It's a solid wooden case that is gorgeous. It's in. If you ever get rid of the El Cheapos, keep that case because you can put other markers in it to travel with.
Yeah, and it's only like $70 for a
Mm-hmm.
set of what, 300 or
Yeah,
280 or something like
they're
that.
cheap.
So yeah, now I do have. I don't know if I have the shuttle art, but I do, because I only link in my Amazon storefront. I only link the stuff I use, but I do have the Ohu's. I think I might have the Copics, and I know I've got the best choice markers. But if you're wanting to get into using alcohol markers, I recommend going with the shuttle art that Holly likes, or the El Cheapos, which is the called the best choice of what I like. Now, the
Yeah,
best choice is a brush tip marker. It's a brush and a nib, I think, on the end. And I love those pens. I take those with me when I go camping
she does.
instead of taking my expensive markers and stuff, and I really enjoy them. I mean, now if it was me, I'm gonna ask you this too, Holly. But if it's me and I'm starting all back over, and we have bought tons and tons of sets of markers.
We
But
have.
if it was me starting back from the beginning, I don't think I would have sunk the $2,000 I did into the Copic markers. I think I would have just got the Ohuhus.
The and and yeah, like I don't know why, but Copic has a very like soft spot in my heart because that's what I started out with. Now, will I continue to like buy any more to sets? Because see, the way I did mine, Bridget bought the entire series of everything, and I had about one and a half full ones. But thanks to Bridget, even though it was $2,000 later, she was able to help me be like, okay, well, this is ridiculous. You bought set D and you've got like 10 different shades of gray, or set C and they had too many different browns that pretty much look the same. So
Mhm.
with her having the whole set, it did help me break it down and just I'm done collecting Copic markers. Now I just do my refills. So I have markers from all four sets. I have a total of three full sets. So those last two sets I just kind of picked and got what I wanted because of what she had. Now there's probably like a couple of colors I do want that I've got wrote down, but it's only like four or five, and it's different shades of green and like some different types of ocean colors or whatever. But at her expense, which I hate, she saved me a lot of money. But I love the markers. I do. I wish they were cheaper. Why the hell they cost so much? I don't know. So if I had to choose between the Copic and the Ohuhu, even though Copic has a soft spot with me, I think I would do the Ohuhu because when we sit at our coloring station, I do use the Copics. I do. But if you ask me, Holly, when we color, what do you use more of? More of the Ohuhu. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why, because they're all sitting in front of me, just like yours. Me and Bridget has
Mm-hmm.
these gorgeous shelves that they made just for Ohuhu and Copic sketch markers. She can show
Yeah,
y'all
and
better
I'm
than
gonna
I
show
can.
people. I'm gonna show everybody my. I'm gonna have to move this a little bit, but I'm gonna show. I'm gonna flip the camera around here.
Yeah, check those out. And
There.
while she's showing y'all, I'm going to explain some of these. When you see the big one that she's going to show us that's holding the Copic sketch, now it is pricey. Now, me and Bridget, people, I know y'all probably think y'all are crazy. Why are y'all spending this much money on markers and all this stuff? When you're passionate about something and you want good quality, when you're that passionate about something, we love to color. We want our coloring pages to look like damn near oil paintings, like a portrait. Okay, so those are Bridget's shelves right there. Now she did get a new one, but that one on top, that's her Copic sketch one. I would say that would
Yeah.
probably be our most expensive shelf that we have. That one was what, Bridget, about $140?
Yeah, this shelf. Now I've got a white one. This shelf right here came from what was it called? Stamp and Storage.
Yeah, stamping storage, and it holds all the sets, I think.
It holds all 300 and some pens, and it was $140. But now these right here, these shelves right here, I don't know if you can see them good. They've got individual slots.
They're
These up
so cool.
here
She
have the
clipped them together.
yeah grouped up, and so these right here, I got it's this is two different shelves. It stops here. It's two shelves, but I got them for like $50 a piece, or $40, $30 or $40 a piece. Again,
30.
I'll
You
put
told
them
me
in
they
my
were
Amazon.
$30.
$30. Okay, I'll
Yep.
put again. I'm forgetful.
It's
I'll
all
put
right.
them in my
That's
Amazon
cheap for
storefront
that.
too. Yeah, I'll put them in my Amazon storefront as well. But they hold all of my Ohuhu markers. This is kind of my setup, but like I said, the reason I'll tell you the reason. Let me put my camera back up, and I'll tell you the reason I prefer the Ohuhu over the Copic right now. If you ask me, not because they color any better, okay? Um,
But I think some of them
but
do.
you do.
Yeah,
Oh Lord.
because I've taken, and not trying to cut you off real quick, so I just wanted you to try this too. But I have taken like, these are different blues. Because I just randomly grab pens, but I have taken, like, for example, this is Tahitian blue, and I'll color with this Tahitian blue by Copic, and I'll grab Ohuhu, and it's more vibrant. But Copic does have more vibrant colors as well, like, or not more, but some of their colors are more vibrant than Ohuhu. But I feel like Ohuhu's colors are way more vibrant and
Hmm.
rich.
Well, I kind of like the idea, right? And I know what you're saying about that. I have some colors in Ohuhu that I like. I love Ohuhu's moon white,
Yeah,
and I
that's one of
think
my
a lot,
favorites.
and the jade green and stuff. And you
Hmm.
can't get those pretty colors in Ohuhu. So that's the reason I enjoy having both sets. The thing I don't like about the Copic is, even though it's great that you can refill them, I hate having to refill them, because then, like you said, are you getting enough ink? Are you not getting enough? are they going to bleed? Then you have to change your tips, and
Right.
sometimes I just like the idea of coloring with it, and when it runs out, throwing it away.
Just
You know
throw
what
it
I'm
away.
saying? And buying another fresh set. And then, like I said, every time you get done with your hoo-hoos, you're going to have a new fresh set of pens. Where on this other one, you've got the same barrel all the time, but you're having to change the nibs and the ink inside. And I always got this thing: is the ink going to dry inside and start getting clabbered, and then you have to throw away the marker anyway? I don't know.
Yeah.
I would
Oh,
have
sorry
just
about
went
that.
for me. I would have just went with a hoo hoo. So that kind of lets you guys know. Do you want to say anything else about the markers before I talk
I
about something else?
Yeah, I do want to make one recommendation that me and Bridget learned, and the set I have is kind of okay. I barely touch them, but you don't get very many markers in it. These are on Amazon, and they're called Windsor and Newton Pro markers. Okay, they are fine nib. Now Bridget got the brush tip. I
I
didn't
don't like
realize they
them.
had brush tip, but that's fine nib. And then, of course, on the other end, you got your chisel tip. I'm not excited about these. She was not excited about these. My recommendation, and you'll probably hear it from her, they are pricey for the few that you get. Don't waste your money on it. Do not waste your
Right.
money on it, because I wish I would have got the brush set, but because me and her trust each other, when we give reviews and stuff, she tells me something ain't good, I won't get it. I tell her she won't get it. Now there are some things we'll be like,
Right.
well, let's try it again, and we'll do it. But yeah, she sent. Did you send yours back, or did you just end up keeping them?
No, I ended up keeping them, and I hate them damn things. Like I said, I've
Yeah,
heard a lot
they
of people brag about Windsor and Newton, and
no.
that's the thing about me and Holly. Even if Windsor and Newton, after I've used their pens, called me up and said we'll give you $5,000 to say we got some good pens, I'd be like, sorry, I can't do it. I don't like them. I'm not gonna say you got good pens. The only
Yep.
thing I think we've disagreed on, I like the shuttle art. She likes the shuttle art. The only thing we've disagreed on is the fact that I like the best choice pens, the little we call them El Cheapos,
Yeah.
and she doesn't like those. She does not care
Yeah.
for those at all. So
But now I will say that the Ohuhu gave her a bad taste in her mouth at first, because she actually ordered from the website and got like a bad batch, we think is what she got, because she's ordered, you've got two sets now like I do, and she absolutely loves them. So I
I
don't
do.
I don't I don't know what happened there, because she had told me not to get them, and I just got just a tiny set. I said, well, JoJo, my daughter, she loves to draw, she's an artist, all this stuff, and she's amazing at it. And she was like, we need to try the Ohuhu marker. She was like, they're cheaper than Copic and they're better. And I was like, really? And I told Bridget about it. She got hers, and had that mishap. And it was a while after, probably a couple months after, I was like, well, you know what? JoJo keeps talking about the Ohuhus. I'm gonna order a little set, and I fell in love with them. So then she ordered them, and fell right back in love with them. I think she just got a bad batch, but they're
And I think
amazing.
that's what you did on the best choice markers. I really did. I
That's
can't
what I'm
believe you
thinking
wouldn't
too.
like that.
Because Sean, when she
Yeah.
colors a picture with them, I'm like, oh my God, that looks so fucking good. That is so gorgeous. She's like, Bessie, it was the El Cheapos. I'm like,
Yep.
see, yeah, I had to have gotten a bad batch with those.
Yeah.
So
Now I
that's,
will
yeah.
also tell you guys that I'm gonna link these on my Amazon storefront,
Hmm.
but I will tell you if you're going to Amazon to buy Ohuhu, to buy Copic, make sure you buy it from the Ohuhu store, the Ohuhu Amazon store, or the Copic Amazon store, because there are knockoffs out there. Copic has a seal on their packages that if they're genuine Copic markers, you're going to have it's a hologram seal on there. And
Yep.
if you're not getting that hologram seal, you could be getting some knockoffs, that
And
just have that.
their refills will be fully covered in plastic.
Yep.
So if you don't get a refill sealed, send it back, because that means that they
Yeah.
filled it up with some bullshit ink, or either it's been used, and they should be filled up. I don't know if you can see, but about right here. Although I will say, I wish they filled them up to the top, but that's as full as they get right there to that line. They could put a little bit more for us, but yeah, if you don't get it sealed, send it back.
Right. Right. Now, Holly, for you, what colored, because we do use colored pencils, not necessarily, she and I will be the first to admit we love to color, but we are alcohol marker girls.
Mhm.
But I have seen some gorgeous colored pencil drawings, but Holly and I
Yes.
are not that advanced on our shading yet. We use grayscale to do our shading. What grayscale basically is, guys, and I'll fill you in on this, is you see how when you look at this, it's already got some shading in there of gray. That basically, I'll show you what I mean by that. So you see this color here. I'm going to go ahead and go over it with a marker. And I'm using an Ahuhu YR2 Marigold. And I'm going to go over it with this marker and show you what I'm talking about with the shading where that dark was.
Yeah. It's really gorgeous because it's like it's two different colors that it turns into when you're coloring with it because it makes it almost look 3D-ish.
So see how that gives you the dark lines where it looks kind of shaded, and I didn't really shade it. I colored it all one solid color.
Yeah.
But that grayscale look gives you that shading that you don't have to learn how to do with colored pencils.
Yeah.
Now, if you're good at colored pencils, you could take this even to the next level. You know what I'm saying? But that gives you that shading to do it. So if you're buying coloring books, which takes us to that, and you're buying coloring books and it says grayscale, that's what that means. You got regular line art, which I don't know if I have a line art page right here near me. Do you have a line art page where it's just lines, Holly, with
I
no
don't. I didn't
grayscale?
even. Oh, wait. Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. I think. Oh, no, I don't. I thought I did. I thought I had one right here. No, I don't. It's over there. Sorry.
Okay, and I don't think that I've got one real close to me either. See,
Line
guys,
art
we're going off the cuff.
basically is when somebody's drawing line art, they don't do any shading whatsoever. It's just clean, straight
Right.
lines. There's not like many details. Well, they
Okay,
can
this
make
would
it
be a
detail. I
line
take
art
that back,
page.
but yeah,
This is a line art page. See how there's just lines and there's no shading in this.
that's just your basic
That is
line art.
basically, yeah. Yep,
And
that's just your
y'all,
line art.
also too, how Bridget was
And
talking
now
about the
here's your
shading.
grayscale again. See how that's got gray on it?
Yeah, that's your grayscale. He does different ones in that book. Um, also
Yeah.
too with the shading, what I wanted to tell y'all, if you want to shade, you can shade really good with alcohol markers because now me and Bridget are learning that and we're incorporating that into our picture. And when you do shading with the alcohol ink, is so much easier because their colors are just lined up perfect from lightest to darkest or darkest to lightest, whichever way you want to go. And their colors blend so well together. So if you want to incorporate shading with markers, that's another reason why we do recommend alcohol markers. Like you can't do that with Bics or Sharpies, or just
Mm-hmm.
your basic markers. You're gonna need a good alcohol base or a really good watercolor. That they see
Right.
like how she's showing. That's four colors that you can shade that will blend beautifully. Absolutely beautifully.
This has got your BG3, BG4, BG5, and BG6. So I'm gonna take this piece of paper right here, which is kind of blank, and I'm gonna start out with a BG3, and then I'm gonna color down to the BG6, and kind of show you how if
Mm-hmm.
you're sitting there coloring something, and you want it to, that gives you an idea on, hey, this is how you shade.
Yeah, and also with alcohol ink, the more you go over it, the darker it will get. So if you have a light color and you literally just want the color, want it to show light, only color over it one time because the more you color over it, the darker it will get. And that's the good thing about it too, because you kind of got one marker and can make it like two different colors. See how well that blends, y'all? Like it goes from dark to light and keeps going. And that's the beauty of alcohol ink.
Right. So you can shade with these, and a lot of times they'll have those numbers in color where you can do it. I love the alcohol markers now that I got used to it. But guys, I'm gonna tell you, and Holly's my witness. Whatever you decide to color with, Give yourself some time if you're changing from one instrument to another. If you're going from colored pencils to gel pens or gel pens to alcohol markers, don't use it the first time. Be like, oh my God, I don't like this, because it's
Right.
changed and you're having to get used to it. Now I
It's a
will
learning
tell you, I don't know,
process.
Holly, it is. Me and Holly like to get skin colored, even though you have skin tones in your Ohuhu, in your Copic, in your Best Choice, or your Shuttle Art. I like to get a dedicated set of just skin tones. That way I'm not digging through them. And this is a good set. This again is in my Amazon storefront, but these are a lot of pretty, and these are cheap markers. They were only like $20 or $30 for all of these, but I enjoy using these.
Yeah, and you want to get an
And the
extra set of that because I think Bridget would agree with me when I say out of all the markers, we run out the most of skin tone because we like to
skin tones,
color. Yep, we like to color a lot of like fairy girls or goth and just cute pictures like that. So your skin tones definitely are the ones that you will run out of quicker than anything else.
right? Now, for you, what kind of colored we do? When I was telling you, when we color, we use alcohol markers, but we like to color our backgrounds
Hmm.
with colored pencils a lot of times. So, Holly, what name brand colored pencil do you recommend?
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have always used Prisma. Prisma
Mhm.
is an amazing, amazing brand. But I got a set by Shuttle Art that has, oh my God, I can't, you might can help me remember. It's got like what I think 180 or 280 colored pencils or something. Uh-huh.
Did you just say I could help you remember?
Oh yeah, I did. I'm sorry.
Bitch, who the
She
fuck you
can't.
talking to? Are you crazy?
She can't. You're right. She
Uh-uh.
cannot help me with that, y'all. But it's got a lot of them in there. And I don't have an Amazon storefront. I'm gonna get Bridget to help me with that down the road. But I'll get her to put them in her Amazon front because she'll know what I'm talking about. But it's a huge set, and there's like 5 layers, and they color so smooth, and the pigmentation on them is awesome. And they weren't super cheap, but they weren't super expensive either. I would say
Okay.
I think they were like either $39.99 or $49.99. And so for me, my two favorite colored pencils that I use are Prisma and Shuttle Art, and then me and Bridget, I turn her on to these multicolor coloring pencils, but I don't
Mhm.
know the brand of them. She can link them in her store. I think I might
They're
have
already in
one.
my storefront. They're already in there.
You got one shot. Here's one right here,
Yeah, there you
and they're
go.
huge. They're big
Those will give you
thirties.
this. Yeah, they'll give you a rainbow look on the back of your if on your thing. Now we also will recommend you need a highlight, what they call a highlight pen. It
Yes,
colors white. It colors white. But the reason you want a highlight pen is when you're doing eyes and you want to make your dots in your eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like you color over it and you want to give them that dot to make it look like that. Or sometimes you might use it to highlight something else in the picture. But highlight pens, and these usually come 5 or 6 to a pack. I don't really have. Do you have a brand you like more than any other, Holly, on
Jelly Roll.
those?
Don't get the
Jelly
fine
Roll.
point. Jelly Roll is the best because it flows so good. Because I have a fine point, and it's oh God, I think it's by Copic, and it's the metal fine point tip, and I do not like it. It's scratchy. The white doesn't come out like it should. So if you want to do a highlighter, get
Mhm.
anything that is a jelly roll. Get a jelly roll highlighter because also too, if you like, let's just say that you're coloring with the skin tone, and you a little bleeds into her eye. Well, you could take that highlighter and just color over it, and you can't see your mistake. Same with certain spots, like if you color over the lip and you've used a light skin tone, use that highlighter and it'll take that mistake and like pretty much cover it up.
Yeah. Now also, I use Decano. That's my highlighter pen,
It's
Decano,
Jelly
and I
Roll.
do
Those
have
are the
them.
ones. that I sent you the link to that you ordered. Those are jelly roll pens. So anybody that makes a jelly roll, and so the ones that she's got in her bio, those
Now I
are
thought you
really
meant
good to
jelly
get.
roll like this is jelly roll.
Yeah, now that's the brand. I call them all jelly roll, but that's the actual brand jelly roll.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I just call
Okay.
them all jelly roll pens. But yeah, there is, because I have those too, the exact jelly roll brand. But there's so many people out there that does make the jelly roll pens.
Right. Now, also going back to the alcohol marker, and I know we're jumping around, y'all, but when she just talked about erasing, all alcohol marker sets come with what
Oh,
they call a zero,
yes.
and that's called your colorless blender. This will this will take away some mistakes. If you fuck up really bad, don't try to use this because you're just gonna make a big old blob.
I'm
But if you
picturing a
color,
rat,
do you
a
remember the
gray
broccoli or
rat.
something like? Yeah, the rat. Yeah, the rat. That's a
But
whole
you made
story in
that thing your
itself. But
bitch, Bridget. You resurrected that thing. And y'all, she had fucked that rat up, and we laughed and we laughed. But she continued to laugh because after she fixed it, she thought it didn't look good. I was like, where did you mess up? You did it perfectly. And also, too, with a colorless blender, you also can use that to blend your colors as well. So it can remove color, but you can also blend colors with it as well.
yeah, like right here, guys, where I have these lines right here, and you see where the. So let
Yep.
me take this colorless blender and just kind of go over these lines, so
Can
it
y'all
kind of
tell we excited
erases.
about our coloring? We love our coloring. I'm telling you, we passionate about this shit.
But see how that just pulled it all to where you don't see a straight line between the two of them. All of them, it
And
just
see,
kind
it
of
just
runs on
blends it
ahead. Yeah.
perfectly.
Right. So that is something you have to, on your sets of alcohol markers, you're always going to get a zero. So when you get it, you're going to be like, what does this zero stand for? All it is alcohol. It's straight alcohol. That's
You
all
can
it
always
is.
refill that yourself. You got rubbing alcohol, just put you a couple of drops in it, and boom, you good to go.
Hmm. Now, for me, on colored pencils, I like the Color brand.
I
Okay.
have a
And they
set of
come in,
those.
do you like them?
I like them, but I don't know if I'm coloring wrong or what. But when I color with them, they don't look as smooth when I'm coloring with them as they do for you. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with them.
That's the Color brand. I will link them in my Amazon storefront as well. But I like them. I really do. I've really enjoyed the Color pens. I just like them. There's this one set here. I was trying to make sure this is Color right here, and I
Show
think
them
it
your
is.
pastel set.
Okay, but the Color. I know I have some stuck up in here because I have some extras that I stuck down in there that really didn't fit. But they come in this right here, or they come. I've got a tin here that they're called macaroon, color
I
macaroon
have
set.
that set. It's okay.
And that's the pastels I'm talking about though. Is that what you're talking about?
And actually, that's the set that doesn't feel smooth for me, but when you color with it, it's pretty on your pictures. I need to
Right.
give them another chance. I mean, I still have them. They're
Well, and
gorgeous
that's what another
colors.
thing we want to tell you guys. Yeah, when y'all go back and forth, you don't just because you try something one time and you don't like it, don't discount it. Go back and try it again because sometimes you'll find that hey, I like that better the second time
Yep.
around. When I gave it a chance. I also got this set here, and this brand is these are just some El Cheap. These are El Cheapos, what they are. This is called. Oh, these are no, they're not El Cheap. Brut Funner.
I hadn't heard of them.
Brut Brut Funner. I've heard. Now that I saw what these were actually supposed to be an expensive set or a more expensive set. But yeah, I got them too. I got them too. But okay. And when y'all are doing your colored pages, if you decide to use alcohol markers, you're going to want to do one of two things. You're going to want to print your page, or cut your page out of the book, or if you want to leave it in your book, you're going to want to take and open your book to the page you're wanting to color, right? And you want to take a scrap, just a blank piece of paper, and put it in between your page before you color.
And you
Because with
probably want to
alcohol
do about
markers,
two
yeah,
or
it's
three
going to bleed
pages is
through.
probably what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, this is cardstock.
Oh yeah, now if it's cardstock, you only need one sheet of cardstock. Yeah.
Yeah. So I buy cardstock for my what I call my press paper, the paper I'm gonna press on, for the back. But that's what I like to do on that. So we covered markers and colored pencils and the refills.
Well, how about before we finish going over um our coloring, because we need to let them know our paper and our printer and how we went from books to digital. But I think you should announce your big announcement and Miss Thing show your stuff off.
Well, real quick, the printer we like to use is Epson Echo Tank, and the reason we like the Echo Tanks is they come with 4 bottles of ink. They don't have these,
Mm.
and you refill the tank yourself. And girl, I'm still on my original ink.
Me too. It's telling me I'm low on my black ink, but it's not low enough to refill it for me. So
Yeah,
I'm still
and
going on.
and
I've
tell
not
them
put
how many
nothing in
pages
it.
we've printed. We've printed
Oh y'all.
500 to 1,000 pages or more.
It says you can get what 5,000 printables off of it, and we have probably done over 1,000, 1,500, maybe 2,000 pages.
Oh,
A
easy,
lot. And I've printed
easy.
out pictures. I did for JoJo's birthday. I did a whole damn collage, and I printed out a couple of hundred little pictures, and still on the same damn ink.
Me too. And we've had these printers for what, 6 months or more.
Yeah, it's been about 5 or 6 months.
And I've printed for myself. I've printed books for my friends.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
I mean, I've had thousands of pages. Okay, big announcement. Holly and I both create coloring pages. Again, I told y'all this is one of hers. Okay, she created this. This is her Fall Girls. You got a book called Fall Girls, I think.
Hmm.
And she's got it's called Holly Hobby Designs on Etsy. Okay. And we're going to put a link to our Etsy stores down there. I have an Etsy store. I'm Butterfly Color Haven. We both have an Etsy store. But I just recently got into selling on Amazon KDP and turning my Etsy books into physical books that you can buy. I told Holly, I said, give me a chance to get this off the ground, figure out if it's even worth it, and see, because right now, Holly may not know this, but if you go on YouTube and you type it in, they're coming down really hard. We create our images using the help of AI computer, and then we edit those images. We edit them, we take stuff out of them, we add stuff to them, and we critique them and make them a better page so we can put them in our books. But we do use artificial intelligence to help us design these pages. But you still have to have the computer programmer, or to give the commands to the computer to do it.
Right.
um, but right now, Amazon they're cracking down on it really hard because there is a lot of people that prefer line art over AI images, and a lot of the AI books have a high level of return. And so Amazon has just recently went to a platform to where they're making you say whether it's an AI book or not. And they're thinking that they're going to do that so they can identify it to the shoppers that this is an AI generated book or has AI generated images, and that way they can hopefully cut down on the amount of return. If they don't, they're thinking they're going to take them off the platform altogether. So I told her, until we know for sure where that's going to go, until I see where this is going to go, don't even take your time to learn it yet, because it
Right.
might flop. But for now, we're excited about it, and these are some of
Y'all look
my
at her
books.
books.
Now
I'm
you see
so
this
proud of her.
because thank you. This is the author proof copy. It's a proof, so you won't have that line through there like I do. But the book's right there, and those
Look
are
at
some of the
that.
images.
Look at that. I can't wait to color in my books when I get them. Mine'll be here, what, Tuesday?
Right. Yeah, I think so. Tuesday or Wednesday. But this is my safari book. I have a Halloween houses book. I have 2 volumes of that. The cute cows, I have that. But when you're asking where we get our pages from, we make a lot of our own pages.
Yep.
Now we do have a lot of coloring books we've bought.
Oh, we regret that a little bit now. But we're gonna
But
color in them. And Bridget sent a lot of hers off to one of her friends because she loves the color, so she sent some off and I've gave some of mine away. That one, oh my god, yeah, we've colored digitally out of those, and those are so gorgeous. Y'all have got to go get her coloring books.
yeah, so and I've got a bunch on there. So I will link the thing to my Amazon storefront as well. We're also going to link. I'll do it to my Amazon storefront and my book storefront. But what else was going to talk about on that right there? We was talking about.
Why you thinking I'm gonna say something real quick?
Go ahead.
Y'all, I can't tell y'all how proud of her that I am because we both share this passion together, right? And we order everything the same. Because we love to color. The fun part for us is us taking the same picture and coloring it and sending it to each other. 9 out of 10 times, she likes mine better, and 10 out of 10 times, I always like hers better.
No,
And
no.
yes, I'm telling you, and we did the work. We both did the work together, and she kept going and pushing and pushing, and I'm just doing Etsy. I mean, if I do Amazon, it's gonna be probably a lot for me to learn, but I know I got her, behind me. But the fact that she pushed through it and grinded through it through sweat and tears and many restless nights, and now she has her very own books published. Like, I couldn't be more proud of her. I'm more proud of her than what
Oh,
she knows. So I just had to address that on here. So I love you, and I'm so
well,
proud of
thank
you.
you, darling. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And we all know I'm gonna touch briefly on there. Anytime, y'all, this just goes to tell you, anytime that you're trying to succeed or you're trying to stretch out. And listen, I told Holly when I first started working with her on stuff, I'm driven for success. Like if something fails under on my watch, it ain't gonna be because of my lack of trying. And so, but when you do that, you're always going to have haters out there. You're always going to have people that don't want to
Yes.
see you succeed or want to jump on your bandwagon. Okay. Like
Mhm.
Holly and I've always had a passion for coloring, and she turned us on to Etsy. And then I started noticing, and I started doing some people were talking about making images and stuff. And I'm like, how the hell they making these images? If they can make them, I can make them too. And so I got to researching how they're coming up with images, and I found it. And all of a sudden one day I sent her some images, and she goes, "Oh my god, I like those." And I said, "I made those." And she said, "Bullshit,
I thought she was lying. I
bullshit."
really did.
I said, "I swear I did." And she goes, "Uh." So then I turned her on how to make the pictures, and we've helped each other along like this and stuff. But my thing is, when you're succeeding, and I'm okay, me and her doing everything. Like if I have an Etsy shop, she has an Etsy shop. If I sell on Amazon, she sells on Amazon. But at the same time, you can't let every fucking, you know, Tom, Dick, and Harry in on your secret, because you're gonna have more competition even than is already out there.
Yep.
So I'm oftentimes, even with Holly, I've always told her, I'm gonna send you videos that I watched. You put in the work. If you hit
Exactly.
a snag, because my thing is, the only way you're going to be proud of yourself is if you put in the work to do it.
You
If
don't let
somebody
people
else
do it for
walks
you.
you through it, exactly. If somebody walks you through it step by step, you're gonna be like, well, I'm doing it, but I'm only doing it because they showed me or they did this. Or I tell her, work at it yourself. If you hit a snag,
Yeah.
call on me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to do your A to Z for you. I want you to put
Yep.
in the work for that. But I've had somebody who I thought was on my side that is already, I mean, I just got my footing on this, and they're already trying to shoot me in the damn leg. But you know
Mhm.
what? I'm not going to let that bother me. But my point about that is, anytime you try to succeed, you're going to have haters, and you're going to have people that are going to try to take you down.
Yep.
But
Don't
the
let it
good thing
happen.
about it is, Right. I love the fact that I have a positive, supportive network around me and real friends like Holly that encourage me to keep going and say they're proud of me, and mean it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And y'all,
And I
I'm
will
telling
tell
you,
y'all too that I attribute my, what do you call it, coloring advancement or coloring journey to you, because do you know the pages I was coloring when we first started talking?
yes. Oh, I brought you out your
And
box.
she did. And I was coloring like little kitty pictures, like big stuff, kitty pictures.
But they were
And so
cute.
all of a sudden, they were. And all of a sudden, she tells me, she says, "Look, color this." And she got me to get a fairy house book. I had so much anxiety, y'all, because this thing had a house, it had trees, it had flowers, it had plants, it had a walkway, it had a stream. And I felt like I was going to have a heart attack coloring this. I was like, oh my gosh.
She did.
But I actually colored it and I was like, fuck, I'm proud of that. Look at that. Look at this.
And she did a
But
beautiful
it,
job. She did a
thank you.
beautiful job. And now, I used to beat her color, and now guess who's waiting on who?
Oh,
She'll be done. And I'm like, Bridget, how the hell are you done? I still got like this, and that to do. I'm gonna be another 30 minutes, and she just sitting there playing on her iPad, scrolling through TikTok. Just let me know when you're done, Bessie. It's okay. Take your time.
but that's because I'm gonna tell you why. I just usually color it with the alcohol markers real fast. She does a lot of shading and enhancements, and it shows when she sends her pages and I send mine. Hers are always blowing mine out of the water. I don't care what she says.
No,
I
hers are
don't
way
care what
better than
she
mine.
says. Bullshit.
Uh-uh.
Bullshit. Where's
And we
that little
both do
kid
that
at?
to
I
each
need
other.
that sound. I need that. I need that little kid sound. Bullshit.
Yes, we need to
Because I'll
incorporate that
show
into our
you.
podcast. Oh, Bridget,
Like
let's
I'll
tell them
show
what we
you.
do with our
What?
pictures. Let's tell them what
Yes,
we
I was
do with
going
our
to show you
pictures.
that.
Now, Bridget
Now,
gave me this idea to start, which
right.
I've always kept mine, but let me show you what she does that now I do too, and I love it.
I get 1.5 inch 3 ring binders. Okay, now they're all different. I have a bunch of these. And I get your the sleeve protectors. You know what I'm saying? And I put the pages in here. But every time, let me show you just one. Every time I do a page, okay, I
This is
do
so
I do
sweet.
I always sign it and date it, and I put the time that I finished the page. I always sign it, date it, and the time. And on the back, I always do a note for my kids. I put pretty lady, Lord her skin tone. I fought with that so hard. Life lesson. It may not be as pretty as you like, but never stop and keep going. And I always sign it, love mom.
She does it on
Because,
every single page, and she's
right.
got me doing it.
I always, yeah, I always write my kids a note on the back of it and tell them how I felt about coloring it. And I always try to throw in a life lesson. Now, here's the one that says, I love her. She is so cute. I tried to keep fun colors. Reminds me of my kids being young. I miss that. I love all of you.
Oh,
And so I
so
try to
that's what
write
I
a
do
note
for
to my
y'all to
children.
do.
Right. And everybody wants me. I've had people offer to buy my coloring pages, and I will not do it. And not my originals. If you want a copy, I'll get, but my
Yes,
kids get my originals.
girl, I'll be at work and I'll be coloring, and I'll have customers wanting to buy my coloring pages from me. And I'm like, oh, I
Right.
can't do that, and especially again, like you said, not my original. I mean, I'll make you a copy of it, but yeah, they'll be wanting to buy mine. And I'm like, I
But
can't do that.
you know what? The thing I like about coloring the most, and me and Holly's talked about this before. When you color, you take you take a blank page. I mean, it's got an image on it. But that image right there, you can make it your own. You can
Yeah,
put any colors you want in there. And there's no, okay, well, a little a line's usually a yellowish color. No, you can color that blue if you want to. You
if
can
that's
color
what you
that blue.
feeling, exactly.
exactly. You could color them any page, anything you want, but you can take that page and make it into whatever you want. Also, another thing I love about coloring, it helps with stress. I think it's way better than therapy.
Oh
It is
God, it
so
is.
rewarding. When you get done, it's rewarding. But here's where
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get sentimental. I'm gonna get sentimental with y'all. Every single page I've ever colored, as bad as my memory is, I can remember where I was when I colored it. I can remember that I colored it with Holly. I can remember the stories we've had behind it and the things we've laughed
Mm-hmm.
about and made fun of each other about. And even a picture like this, Holly went on about my sky.
I
And as
love that
bad as the
picture.
memories I have, exactly, and I hated it. But there's a story behind every single page that I've colored. And the sweet thing is, most of my pages have a story, including her,
Yep. Because we color
you know,
everything together.
together. Yeah.
And
And
it's
most
funny
every
because,
page that I have, she has. Every
yep,
page that I've colored, she's colored.
when we first started coloring, it wasn't but like maybe a week that we colored, maybe a week or two that we colored different pictures when we colored together. And then we're like, we're going to color the same thing. And we have not missed a beat because
Right.
I can be at work and Bridget may not be able to color. And she'll say, friend, send me what you coloring and I'll color it later. And same with
Yeah.
her. So we still end up coloring the same thing. That's one of my favorite pictures that you've done. I love that picture so much. Yeah, look at that. Look how she does her sunsets. And that one. I love that one.
And let me tell you something else. We're talking about learning stuff along the way. Somewhere along the way, I started learning and said, hey, I'm not going to color everything. I'm going to leave the door trim and the window trim white. And we both was like, man, that's a good idea. That looks good.
Yeah,
So coloring, I think, is always a learning journey too. We're learning along the way all the time.
we really are. And me and Bridget will be the first people to tell you don't be hard on yourself when you color because there really is no wrong way to color. Now, true, yeah, people can color out the lines. But what we mean by that is there's no wrong way to express yourself. There's no like how she said with the line. If you want that damn line blue, you color that son of a bitch blue. There's
Right.
no wrong way to color because it's your vision that you are making come to life through a picture. It's your emotions and your feelings that you are expressing through your coloring. So when
That's
you
right.
color, get creative. A lot of times when me and her color these fairy houses, we use pinks, purples, even like the little cottages and stuff. Those are the colors we'll use. As to where most people would think like, yeah, see like that. Most people will be like brown, brick color, but me and Bridget, we go outside the box. We express our color through very bright and different bold colors.
Right. Now, you ain't going to drive down the road and see a house like that.
No, but it is a beautiful house. The colors just pop on it. So
Right.
don't be afraid. Don't color for what you think people won't or not want to see, but don't color because you know is the what am I trying to say? Fuck.
Because
Color
you
how
think
you
it's the
want.
standard color. You think the standard color is supposed to be like that.
Yes, don't color that way. You color how you truly want to color. I got it.
Right.
It's too late in the morning. It's got me
Well,
all tongue tied.
like right here, you would think when you think of fall scene, you think of fall colors, and I did that the color that you would expect it to be.
I love that picture. I hadn't colored mine like that yet.
But right, and that's one I created. That was one of my pages that I
Yep,
made
that's
and
her
created, and
page.
that's in my fall book. But this, you just like she said, there is no wrong way to color, no wrong choices because we've colored things very similar and we've colored things very different, and we both have things about each other's pages we like a lot.
Yep.
So when you get into this, and this is another thing too I've noticed, and I want to express this to people. When you go to color, you'll sit there and critique it. It's kind of like we was talking about weight and stuff like that. You critique yourself. You'll critique it and you'll be like, oh my God, I hate that. But I've noticed I've went back in my books and looked at the page I hated last week and I'll be like, Oh my God, that's kind of pretty. Oh, I really like that.
Yes. I do the same thing.
Yeah,
The same thing.
yeah. And you'll realize
And
that it's not as bad,
it is it's
you
yeah,
know?
it's not. And then one thing that me and Bridget do a lot, and it's good to have a good support system like she said, because you are your own worst critic. But me and Bridget, we are each other's critics. Like me and her, we want that criticism because you're not going to learn if you don't. So I'll send her a picture and she'll say, okay, I like this picture, like especially in making or coloring pages. And she'll say, okay, I like this, but what about this? And she'll go remove something and fix it. And I'm like, oh my God, that looks so good. Or she'll send me one of her coloring pages, and I'm like, oh, I love this, but I probably would remove this one little thing. And neither one of us get upset because we we truly want to see each other thrive. She's not like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna let Holly's picture be fucked up, not tell her, and vice versa. We help each other in this journey because we started it together, and or we came together by and we started it together, if that makes sense to y'all. So when
Mm-hmm.
you got, a best friend like that, that is your support system, and y'all had the same thing in common, it makes it just a fun, wonderful, amazing journey. It really does.
Exactly, exactly. So, for me, I tell everybody, if you're wanting a hobby that's going to relieve stress, that's going to be relaxing, calming, and rewarding, consider coloring. Consider coloring. And if you don't want to get an expensive set of markers, start out with gel pens. I mean,
Yeah,
it's gonna take you a lot longer to color something, but start out with crayons if you have to. But just get in there and begin to color, and I promise you, I think you'll find a love in it, just like we have.
yeah. You really will bring out that inner
And Holly,
child again.
it is. How did you get into coloring? I want to know that. What started you coloring back as an adult? I know we all did it as kids, but what started you back as an adult?
For me, like, yeah, I loved coloring when I was little. But as I got older, I've always colored my entire life, but what got me really back into it was probably when I was in, oh my God, like early 20s, mid 20s. And I was like, you know what, I want to color. And I just bought just a Crayola coloring book and some crayons. And it started there. So off and on throughout the years, I would color, but I would get more advanced. But what got me hot and heavy, I would say I've been coloring hot and heavy probably for the last, oh my God, probably the last 6 years. And I color like extravagant things, like hard things, because it was just Winnie the Pooh and Mickey Mouse and, Bugs Bunny, coloring books like that or whatever. And so for the last, 6 or 7 years, I've been so hot and heavy into it. And when I started back coloring hot and heavy, I was ordering like Hannah Lynn, just more detail pictures. And I started off with not crayons, but the gel pens as well. And I was like, God, I want something different. So I started buying Bics and Sharpies, and that's all I would color with. And I would do some details in the gel and stuff, and would still color with them sometimes. But and then of course I've advanced to now. But yeah, I've always colored. Started back in my 20s, but hot and heavy. I've been at it for, yeah, last 6 or 7 years, and I love it. And I would take a break here and there, but I always go back to it. But for the last year
Yeah.
and a half, it's been nonstop coloring. But I think that's
Yeah.
because of what I'm coloring with, and especially being able to make our own pictures and getting all these different style coloring books has made it even more enjoyable for me, to where I don't see me stopping with it like ever. I don't. It's just that it takes me to a place in my head to where I'm not thinking. I'm just literally just looking at a picture, and I'm like, I'm gonna bring this to life. This is my creation, and there's no worries, no stress. You're just carefree, just coloring and
Right.
expressing yourself. Well, now what
Yep.
what
Start
got
to
you coloring?
Well, when I was a little girl, me and my every Friday and Saturday night, I'd spend the night with my grandmother, and we would color. We'd go by Dollar Tree, or not Dollar Tree, Family Dollar back then, and we would buy a coloring book and a new pack of crayons every couple weeks. And we would go to her house, and it'd be 8, 9 o'clock at night. And my grandmother was a Christian, so we would get in her bed. I'll never forget. We had our pillows propped up against the back headboard, and we would sit there, and she'd have her gospel music on, and she'd be singing her gospel music, and we would just be coloring. And she'd look at my page because we'd get the same books. That's why I love doing this to you, because it reminds me that me and her get the same
Oh.
books and color the same pages. And she'd look at my book, and she'd show me her page and stuff. And I would always hold my book up because I'd be on this side of the bed and she's on this side, and I'd always hold my book up and say, "Don't look at my page," because I'd hide it from her. And and she'd say, "I'm not gonna look." And then finally I'd get done. She'd peek over and say, "Can I see?" And I'd say, "Yeah," and I'd let her see. But I loved coloring with my grandmother. And then as I got older, I'm like you, probably my 20s, I'd pick up some books and a 64 pack of the Crayola crayons, and I would color some
Yes.
pages out of it. And then, like I said, I'd quit doing it for a while, and then I'd get back into it in my 30s. And all through my 20s, 30s, and 40s, I colored, off and on, and collected. And probably, like you said, I would say probably back in 2015, I got some pictures 2015 and 16. I got me and my daughter coloring books and gel pens and all this stuff. And me and her would sit for hours and color. And, but we did the quotes, the words, the quotes, and the mandalas
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Not the detailed mandalas, the big ones where you didn't have much to color. But then I would color with her, and then I'm like you. I would say in the last year and a half, 2 years, it's been pretty much nonstop. I've got
Yeah.
tons and tons of pages. But yeah, that I would say my grandmother, and then just like you said, it's a passion that I've kept up with through the years, off and on, until here recently. And I attribute sticking with coloring as much as I have this last year because I have somebody to color with, like my grandmother. It just makes it more fun.
It does. It really does. And if we miss coloring, like she didn't get a color when she was on her vacation. Even we took a book, or she took a book that we both have, printed out pictures and stuff like that. And she felt so bad. And when she come back, she was like, "Gosh," she's like, "I've missed coloring." I was like, "I have too," because I wouldn't color without her. I didn't even color the whole week. I usually color at work, and I didn't color the whole week that she was gone because I don't know, it's like an empty feeling. It's you can color by yourself, we know that, we do, but we do it together so much that it just, you feel kind of empty and lonely because it's like you sitting here and you're like, what, nobody's there, you know. And we talk about, God, if something ever happens to Bridget or happens to me, we're gonna be pitiful because I don't know, our friendship is so strong and we know each other so well. It will be hard to find like a new coloring buddy. I won't be able to do that. It will be so hard to color with somebody else
Yeah,
other than her because we've been doing it for so long.
we have. We've been doing it for a while. We enjoy it. We really do.
We
But
do.
y'all color. Get you something in color. And like I said, get you a coloring buddy. Me and Holly do, every now and then we'll do coloring lives. And we would like to have it to where, we can have some of y'all join us on our lives. If you follow us on TikTok or Facebook, we'll do them there sometimes. So y'all tune into those. But
Yeah.
I think that's about all for tonight. What
Well,
do you think, Miss
I
Holly?
will say if y'all give us some feedback and y'all are interested in it, we could do a live podcast and color and just chit chat and have people call in and stuff. But y'all got to give us feedback. Y'all got to let us know, is that entertaining for y'all? Do y'all want to just sit and chill and everybody pull up a chair, grab a coloring book and some markers, and let's just shoot the shit? So y'all got our email. It's all linked in our bios and everything. But other than that, yeah, that's it. I think that would be a fun idea.
I think so too, girl. So, what is our next podcast?
Our next podcast, y'all have heard us talk about this in our past podcast. Bridget does not watch that much TV, and y'all all know she has not seen Dirty Dancing. Big shocker, because that's a great movie. I do want to ask you real quick: have you ever seen Grease? Bridget.
Not in its entirety. Not in its entirety.
Well, the next episode is going to be TV shows we've never seen before. I can guarantee you, hands down, I'm probably going to win this one because before we even announced this, I was like, Bridget, have you seen this? Have you seen that? No. What about this? No. I know you've had this thing. No. So y'all want to stay tuned for that because y'all are going to be shocked at the shit that she has not seen.
I am not a TV or if there's anything, I'll do a movie, but I'm not a TV person. I'm not a TV person at all. Like I said, you could come and collect every TV in my house, and I wouldn't even know it.
She would be fine. She wouldn't care.
I would. I would. But we've got that, and then we are going to do another episode in the future of movies we hadn't seen, because there's a
Yes.
few that you would even be surprised that Miss Holly hadn't seen.
Yes. She is not lying about that because I'm like, oh, no. There was one that I don't want to say it because it's going to be for the podcast, but you had asked me, and I was like, God, it sort of sounds familiar. When I looked it up, I was like, I ain't never seen that shit. And it's a very, very popular movie. Very popular.
I know. All right. Well, guys, we thank you for tuning in. We hope you learned a little something about color. And if you do have any questions that maybe we didn't cover, you can always email us and ask us. But if you're thinking about getting into coloring, or even if you've been coloring for a while and you want to change up your tools or your instruments, we hope that this was able to help you and shed some light on some things. But we love you guys and thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, have a good night.
Bye.
See you on the next one.